Hi, my name is Cami Wint, and this is for week 4 lesson plan for the phoneme isolation. So mine covers the RF Kindergarten Part 2 standard, where students will recognize individual sounds in words. Students will be able to isolate the initial sound in one syllable words, and students will also be isolate the final sound in a one-syllable word. Prerequisites would be students need to be able to identify the animals in the lessons being used or objects. Materials would be for example, it'd be a flashcard of an animal, or whatever you're going to use, and some Legos. You'll need those for later. This will take about 15 minutes, and it is small group oriented. So for the initial sound, it would go something like this. Alright, so I'm holding up the flashcard of whatever it is. For this instance, it'll be a fish. This is a fish. What is the name of this animal? They would reply, fish. Listen carefully while I say the word again. Fish. And then I'm going to repeat the word, but this time I'm going to enunciate the F in the beginning. The first sound in fish is f. Say the sound with me, and they would say f, as in fish. Good. Okay. And then you would repeat the same sequence with different cards that you would have of different animals. You probably have 5 or 6 is what our book gave as an example. And so it would go about the same for the final sound. So again, I would hold up, this time it would be of a bird. So I'm holding up the picture of the bird. This is a bird. What is the name of this animal? And then they would say bird. Listen carefully while I say the word again. Bird. Bird. That time I enunciated the end of the word bird. The last sound in bird is d. Say the last sound with me. D. And they would also repeat it with me. What's the last sound in bird? And they would say d, as in bird. Good. And then you would also repeat this for the other animals that have, or objects that have the final sound that you're trying to isolate. And then now what I would have students do is go to different workstations. This is done in our small groups. So I would assign students to different stations as I was documenting along the way what kids knew what sounds. For error correction, for the initial sound, it would go something like this. If students responded incorrectly, it would be the following. The first sound in fish, we're back to the beginning, is f. Say the sound with me. F. What is the first sound in fish? And then they would respond with f. And if they still didn't get it, then you would need to continue to work with them. For the final one, it would go something like this. The last sound in bird is d. Say it with me. D. What is the last sound in bird? And then they would respond with d. Okay. For instructional consideration, what I would do, in some cases, some students may need help isolating the sounds of the letter, and if that would happen, then you could do this as the following. Let's see how we made the letter sound with our mouths for fish. Let's say the sound again. Tell me how your lips move when you say, and they would say they would come together, like that. Yes, they come together. Does any air come out? And then they would respond with yes. And you would do the same thing with the final as well, depending on what your letter was. Kind of get them an idea of how to pronounce the sound that you want them to say along with the letter, so that way they kind of correlate. For instructional consideration as well, for special education students, this is when the stations come out. So for special education students, one station I would put them at would be to have them at a Lego station. This is where you have two different kinds of Legos, different colors of blocks, and you write words such as like bird, cat, dog on those Legos. And then, for example, a student can pick up a block that says bird. Depending on the color of the brick, the student has to say the initial sound or the ending sound. So the blue bricks could be the final sound, and the red bricks could be the initial sound. So like you would have a blue brick with the letter with the word bird on it, and the student would know because of the color of the brick that they're looking for the end sound, and they can work on that. And they can also stack them up for all the ones that they get right, and then push away at the side the ones that get wrong. That way you can analyze and look how they're doing that. For ELL students, you can use flashcards. For example, you can have a flashcard with the picture of the item or thing there, and then the word of the item up here, whether it be an animal or another item. And you can work with them and maybe ask them to just find the ending isolation sound, the final isolation, or the initial. It just depends on which way you would want to do that. And then have them do a right and a wrong pile, so you can kind of count that as well. Alright, and so for gifted and talented students, that one was kind of hard. But what I would have them do is have an adult work with them, if there is one. Work on their medial sound, which is the middle sound on words. So like you could use words like bat, ant, shell, cat, things like that. And they could ask the adult could ask what the medial sound word is, and you could say, what is the middle sound in this word, cat, and you could sound it out, and the student would be able to pick out the middle sound. That's what I would do for that one. So hopefully I answered everything in this video, and I look forward to my feedback. Thank you.